Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to Evolving Consciousness. I'm your host Purushottam, and in today's video, we are going to talk about a story which will literally give you goosebumps. A story which is going to stay with you for years together. A story which will uplift you whenever you feel laid down by the topsy-turvy challenges of life. Now, probably this story is something most of you haven't heard of because unfortunately there are so many legends in history which we human beings, which the young population is not even aware of. But the experiences which were there in their life, the way they faced those challenges and adversities are really eye-opening learnings for each one of us. Today I am going to speak about a personality called Karoly Takacs. Yes, Karoly Takacs. Probably you never have heard about this gentleman. Karoly Takacs was a soldier in the Hungarian army way back in the 1900s, probably in the era of 1930s. Now this person was an iconic shooter in the entire country. He was known to be the best hand in the shooting sport. And in the Olympics, which was to come in the year 1940, he was pretty confident, and also folks who knew him, and probably the most of the population in the country of Hungary knew that he is going to win the Olympics, the gold medal of Olympics. Now the fun begins. Something happens with Karoly in the year 1938. In a traumatic catastrophe, an accident in the army camp, he loses his right hand. The hand which he used to use for his shooting. Now, when this tragedy struck him, like all human beings, Karoly was completely devastated. The person who completely relied as his passion on shooting, he lost the very vehicle, he lost the very instrument through which he could passionately pursue his sport. He lost his right hand. It's not a small thing. And what happened after that? Karoly was hospitalized for about a month, and he was only left with his left hand, through which he could barely do his regular activities, those monotonous activities, because his left hand was not his major hand, his right hand was his major hand. And his left hand wasn't of much use to him. He couldn't even do the day-to-day activities through this hand. Forget about shooting. Now, if it were you and me, we would start blaming our stars. We would look up there and talk that victim speak, right? We always have this victim mindset, and we will probably start cribbing about why this happened to me. I was the best shooter in the country, but why the hell did this happen to me? But Karoly didn't do that. He told himself that I will train my left hand to such an extent that I will compete in the shooting competitions. So in 1938, this tragedy struck him, and Olympics was in the year 1940. So he had a stretch of 2 years for him to practice and train his left hand. And there was a national championship which was held in the year 1939. Karoly decided to participate in that tournament. When Karoly entered the stadium, where the onlookers, they were of the opinion, they had this preconceived notion that probably Karoly has come to just witness the entire tournament, to just probably cheer up the participants, and they congratulated him towards his kind gesture. There were folks also who were giving him this pity look, with the eyes of sympathy. Karoly did tell them My folks, you are mistaken. I have not come to cheer you up. Instead, I have come to compete with each one of you. Half of the population there began to start laughing. Either Karoly is joking, or there were a certain section of people who were a bit rattled. What is this guy talking about? He has lost his right hand. How is he going to participate in a professional shooting tournament with a hand which can barely do the regular day-to-day activities? And guess what? The 1939 National Championships was won by the man with the only hand. He won the championship. Now there's 1 year to the Olympics of 1940. Unfortunately, the Olympics was cancelled due to World War II. But Karoly persisted. He waited for the Olympics which was to be held in the year 1944. But unfortunately, again due to some geopolitical reasons, 1944 was also cancelled. The Olympics which was to be held in the year 1944 was also called off. But Karoly didn't give up. He still persisted. Now in the year 1948, Karoly was about the age of 38 years. And by the time, there were a lot of young shooters who had emerged in the country of Hungary. Lot of talented, gifted shooters, young shooters. And Karoly was about 38 years. Now that did not deter, that did not serve as a deterrent to Karoly. He still persisted. And guess what? Who won that Olympics of 1948? Yes, the man with the only hand. Now this story is a true story. This is not fiction. Now you and me can't even digest the fact that if we lose either of our hand, how difficult our life is going to be even to do the most monotonous activities. Forget about winning the Olympics. Now, one other nuance which needs attention, that Karoly wasn't disabled from birth. Let's remember that. That's a very important nuance to focus on. Reason being that if you are by birth disabled, right, then you automatically have a belief system of your limitations. But Karoly, at the age of 28, loses his right leg. Now, when he loses his right limb, he could have completely confined himself and started lamenting and sort of gone into this mode of depression. Or probably when he came to know that the 1940s and the Olympics which was going to happen in 1944, that was delayed, he could have given up, he could have curated a story that probably God doesn't want me to win the Olympics. That's why he's delaying. But he didn't do either of them. That's a hallmark of a true legend. Look at the mindset, look at the level of grit this personality exhibited. He waited, he persisted. He showed the most commendable levels of resilience. And he persisted with this practice regime, because unless you don't practice for an extreme long period of time, you lose your strength. Any physical limb, the more you use it, the more stronger it becomes. There are so many things which we can learn from this legend. He gave a beautiful quote. He said that life is not about how hard of a hit you can give. Life is not about how hard a hit you can give. It's about how many you can take and still keep moving forward. Now, this one quote is so powerful, and this man is a living example of this philosophy of resilience, grit, perseverance. Look at the amount of passion this man had towards that sport. He was competing with people probably a decade younger than him, with the same level of enthusiasm, with the same level of exuberance. And he was the first person to win consecutive gold medals in the 25-meter rapid pistol game, right? Rapid fire pistol event. There are a plethora of things you and me can learn from his story. Number one, don't let situations hinder you from your goals, from pursuing your goals. Look at the amount of time he had to wait to get that goal. Had he stopped practicing, had he allowed other things to consume his attention, he probably wouldn't become the legend we know of today, right? He was so consistent and his goal was so much obsessed with the Olympics that he did not let time, he did not let the tragedy decide his outcome. There cannot be a more powerful example. Probably I have never heard of an example which is so inspiring in my entire life, because this example of this story of this legend speaks volumes about what it requires, what is needed to become a legend. Now, why did I share his story, right? Because most of us need real life stories to feel inspired. Because most of us are of the opinion, but philosophies are nice to hear, easier said than done. But there are people in this planet who were like you and me, who had the same pair of eyes, two hands, probably the same body structure. But what made them different? Their thought process, their way of looking the situations. Also, I want to emphasize this quote by Kahlil Gibran. I know I have mentioned this quote in one of my previous videos, but this is a quote which is so deep, vertically and as well as horizontally. You can implement or you can try to draw meaning out of this quote through a plethora of dimensions, right? You can apply this quote in so many different ways. The quote says, "The lust for the bodily comfort murders the passion of the soul." Karoly's passion was to win that Olympics medal, no matter what, no matter how many years it's going to take to him for him to win it. He persisted. The bodily comfort, the bodily discomfort which he had to endure, he took that challenge, because it's not easy for someone who was a natural right-handed person to start playing professionally through his left hand. Do a simple experiment. Start doing things with your left hand, even the basic of things, even writing. You will realize how difficult it is to do it. But look at the man. Look at the amount of passion he had towards his goal. Now, this is something which needs to be revered. This is something which needs to be respected deeply. Now, I also want to talk about a few aspects from my own life. The thing with my own life, folks who know me probably know it, but I am the only son of my parents. And we come from very humble beginnings. We were not having a very rich family background. We come from extremely humble beginnings. But what I am really proud of is the fact, the way my parents lived their life. My father, he had to work for about 15 years in the Middle East, while my mother single-handedly nurtured me. She single-handedly was taking care of me in my growing years, while my father was completely alien to the fact that how I'm growing up. Now, why am I talking about my parents, and why am I talking about the fact that my father had to go to the Middle East to give me a comfortable and probably a luxurious life? If they wanted, they could probably not take the discomfort, probably they could enjoy their own lives, and we could have led a mediocre life. But no, my father, my parents wanted their son to enjoy a more settled, a more luxurious life. Today, because of their hard work, sacrifice, and devotion, I am blessed with living in an independent house in Bangalore. I live in a beautiful and a magnificent house, a G+4 house in Bangalore, in a great locality. Now, whenever I look at my house, my heart fills with gratitude, because I know how difficult it is to live in your own house in a place like Bangalore. How difficult it is to own an independent house in a place like Bangalore, especially when you don't have any ancestral backing. My parents didn't have any ancestral backing. Every inch of this house is coming from the toil of my father and mother's sacrifices. The amount of effort they put in for giving me this comfortable house, and then this house is just one dimension of the things they have provided to me, but this is probably the loudest dimension from a visual sense standpoint. That's why I'm talking about it. And whenever I move across my different rooms of my house, I feel really proud. I feel really grateful, because I know a lot of my colleagues who are working in reputed MNCs, but they still are staying in rented houses. Now, this is not to demean people who are staying in rented houses. All I am inviting you to consider is, whenever you see people who exhibit these qualities of perseverance, exhibit these qualities of enduring pain for a higher purpose, honor them, revere them. They need not be legends. They can be from any walk of life. He can be a vegetable vendor, he can be a laborer, he can be someone close to you. Honor them. They truly deserve that. Especially what I learned from my parents is this quality of grit, perseverance, and this never dying spirit, and this essential quality, this one particular aspect which I learned from them is this aspect wherein they know how to endure pain. No matter how much painful situations came in their life, they were persistent. Now, there are so many subtle nuances in their life which if I probably tell here, if I probably narrate here, you probably will have goosebumps. I won't go into that, but essentially what I am bringing to your notice is the qualities of perseverance, grit, and this quality of sacrificing your comforts for something higher. These are divine attributes. Karoly had that. And Kahlil Gibran's quote resonates with his demeanor. Now, why did I talk about my parents here? Because I saw real life examples. Today I am reaping the benefit of it. I live in a beautiful mammoth house from all standards of society, right? From all benchmarks of society, I live in an extremely beautiful house. It won't be an overstatement to say that. And all this was accomplished because of their efforts, sacrifice, dedication. If they were fooling around, right, if they were busy enjoying their life, probably I would also be in some rented accommodation. But they didn't do that. No, this is something which is crucial for each one of us, right? If all our choices determine our destiny, either we can waste our time and fool around doing, and after 10 years we are going to regret, oh my God, what did I just do? I wasted my entire life in senseless distractions and enjoyments. which were probably not giving me any outcome on the long term, but were only making me feel good in the short term. And I will give them full marks. I will give my parents full marks for teaching me through their behavior the importance of discipline, perseverance, grit, and also the power of enduring pain and getting up every time life knocks you. This is something I've learned from them. I've seen them imbibe these qualities. Now, this is not a video to brag about the greatness of my parents. All I'm inviting you to consider is you don't need legends to inspire you. You would have people around you who probably have qualities you adore. So, whenever you see people from any walk of life, respect them, adore them, and probably try to inculcate those qualities which they have in yourself. Hope these stories, hope these lessons which I am sharing in these videos are making sense to you and probably will provide you a new lens to look at life. Thank you so much, and if you really enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Also, don't give me your candid feedback. Because oftentimes people view the videos but they don't give me the candid feedback. I'm open to constructive criticism, so don't hold back even if you have some not so good words to talk about the video. Thank you so much and meet you in the next video.